Okay. So in the last, okay, quickly let me share my screen first. Okay. So in the last session, we started the service called Identity Access Management, right? And we covered few things like what is a user, different types of users available, and what we call that different access types, but we haven't practically verified the programmatic access. But we have discussed like what is a management console access and what is a programmatic access. We have created multiple users with a different level of access, right? First, what we have done, we created a default user, and by default, a user will get no permissions, right? By default, a user will get no permissions. That we verified like by creating a user called user1 here, and we logged in as a user1 and we confirmed there is no access permissions, like even a read permission. Then we created a user called user2, and we have provided administrator access by attaching a policy directly to the user2. And that policy was created or managed by AWS, which means we use the default policy. And then we created another user called user3. This time we plan to assign just read-only access on a single service. Instead of using the default policy, we decided to create a customized policy, I mean, our own policy. We did the same and we named that policy as a read-only access IAM. We created user 3 and we attached the custom policy. Then we logged in as user 3 and we verified that the user 3 got a read-only access on IAM service only. So we covered the policy creation also, like how to create our own policy and all. Now what we do is let us create let us create a user group. Let me name it as administrators. Means in this group, the administrator will present and attach administrator access policy to this group. So what is the use case for this? Whenever a new employee joined, and if you want to assign administrator access to that particular user, instead of attaching a policy directly, we can place that user into this particular group so that the user will get the administrator access permission. Let's visualize how it looks like and all. So here I'm going to create one group. This is going to be the group, user group. Technically, it is called as a user group. On this user group, I am going to attach a policy. What is the policy? Admin access. The name of the policy is admin access, and that policy can provide administrator access, administrator access to any user present in that particular group. Any user present in that particular group. Now, what I do, I will create a new user. Let us say a user called user5 or user4, and I will place this user into this particular group. So user 4 will become administrator. Or already we created one user. What is the username? User 1. If you remember, he is the default user. I mean, the user which created with the default permissions so that he got no access. What I'm trying to say here is not only the new users, you can add existing users into the group so that this user one will get this policy automatically applied whenever he is going to be a part of the group. That is what we are going to check first, like how to do that and all the things. So first thing, we will create a group, then create a new user, let us say user 4, and provide administrator access by adding user 4 into the group administrators. Don't attach a policy directly. Instead, use groups concept to apply some permissions. Just we are trying to check all possible ways to provide access permissions to the user. Then obviously you guys might know like how to verify, right? How login as user 4 and verify the administrator access permissions, like create something, delete some existing things and all, right? Let us complete this and then we can go with another scenario. So first we need to log into the AWS account, which already I did. I logged in as a root user here. I did not logged in as an IAM user. How to identify whether we logged in as a root user or at IAM user? If I log in as a root user, here I can see my account name. If I log in as an IAM user, I can see the username like user1, user2, and so on. Then I will navigate to the IAM service. And then same procedure, go to the user section, click on user groups, because our goal is to create a group, right? Okay, so here, let me click on create group. Group name, I will say admin group. Any name you can use, that doesn't matter. If you want, you can add existing users also. You can add existing users like by selecting here. At this point, I am not going to add any user. You can see add users to the group, which is an optional. And also one thing, whenever you are doing the practicals, just try to read the description. An IAM user is an entity that you create in AWS to represent the person or application that uses it to interact with AWS. It's actually the definition for user. Just also just see optional. Means it is not mandatory to add a users to the group. In other way, we can say we can create an empty group also. There is no rule that at least one user must exist. There is no such rule. You can create an empty group. Later you can add. And then attach permissions policies, which is also an optional. But if I don't attach any policy to the group, there is no use of creating the group in our requirement, right? Okay, so here I'm going to select the first policy, which is administrator access. Then scroll down, create user group. Now the user group got created and the group name is admin underscore group. No users present, permissions defined on the group. So whoever is a part of this group will get the defined permissions automatically. Now, what is the next thing? Create a new user called user4 and add that user to the newly created group. How to do that? Just click on the users, create user. Username is going to be user4, and I will select this checkbox to provide console access. I want to create an IAM user. Let me choose a custom password, easy for me to remember, because I'm going to act as a user1, user2, user3, and root user. So I don't want to keep a lengthy passwords or auto-generated passwords. Next, see here, add user. Earlier, what happened? We selected this option, attach policies directly, and we have chosen the required policy. But in this case, we will select the option called add user to group, and we will select this checkbox. And we will select this checkbox and click on next. If you want, you can add some tags also. I can say department, admin department, this user belongs to. I can say location is Hyderabad. Like this, you can add up to 50 tags. Here, how many tags I created? 2 tags. And here you can see the description. You can add up to 48 more tags. 48 plus existing 2. Total, you can add 50 tags per user. Click on create user. Yep, user got created. Now let us verify whether the user4 got the admin permissions or not. How to log in? How to log in? Just go to aws.amazon.com. Click on sign into console. We must select IAM user because user4 is an IAM user. And here you need to enter either account ID or account alias. I'm going to create an account alias, which we created in the last session, and I'm using that account alias. Then username is user4, the password. See here, I'm able to log in. Let me verify the permissions, set of permissions. For that, I will navigate to IAM first, IAM service. Let me try to delete one existing user. Let me try to delete some existing user. Go to users. Let me choose user 2. Click on delete, confirm. See here, user 4 is able to delete existing user. Let me try to create a new user. I will say user 101. Next, create user. Able to create means he got full permissions on one service. I can't say, I mean, I cannot confirm that he got administrator access on all services. At least I need to try one more service. For that, I will go to EC2 service, which we don't know yet, but let me go there. Yesterday, if you remember, we created security groups, right? Test one. See here. Let me try to delete that. Selected that. Actions. Delete security groups. Click on delete. If user 4 is able to delete that security group, which means he got full control on all services. Let me refresh here. See here. It got deleted. This is how we can verify. This is how you can verify. Now, what I'm going to do is this one. I will say add an existing user, user1, to the above group and verify that he got administrator access on all services. User 1 is an existing user who has no access, if you remember, right? If you log in as a user 1 now, you can see that he can't read, he can't create, he can't delete. Now, I want to provide administrator access to user 1 by adding this user to the group. I don't want to show you, I don't want to do this practical. You guys have to do this. While you're doing the practical, you have to do this as a simple task. But I will guide you here how to do that. Generally, if you don't know something, no need to worry. Just try to navigate different options in that. Okay, first, what is the goal? I want to add user 1 to an existing group. Okay, this is the user. Let me select the user. Just I will show you. Let me select the user. Let me try to identify some options like add to group, some kind of. But here there is no such option. Okay, let me click on the user 1. See here, permissions, no permissions applied. There is one tab called groups, right? Click on that. You can see this user does not belong to any groups. And here you can see one option called add user to groups. Click here, select the group, click on add user to group. This is one way which you can add a user to the group. I did not add it. You guys have to add it practically and verify. And the other way is go to user groups. Now, I want to check what all users are part of this particular admin underscore group. Click on this admin underscore group. You can see list of users, user 4. Now, here I can click on add users and I can select what all users are going to be a part of this particular group, and you can click on add users so that they will be added to the group. Either way, you can use it. Either way, you can use any option to add a user to the group. Okay, right. Now, there is another way that we can assign permissions, right? If you observe here, I mentioned that you can attach a policy to the user, which already we tested. We can add a user to a group, which is already we tested. There is another option called copy permissions. Means you can copy permissions from one user to another user at the time of user creation. So here we have a user called, let us say user 3, right? We have a user called user 3. Okay, so here is the user 3. And he already having read only access on IAM service. What is the meaning of copy permissions is, let us say I'm going to create a user called user 5. At the time of creating the user 5, I will choose an option called copy permissions. Means I want to replicate the same permissions from an existing user, so that the user 5 will get the same permissions which already applied on user 3. When these kind of copy permissions are useful is, let us say this user 3 belongs to development team and user 5 is a new employee who is getting into the same development group, and as per the requirement user 3 and the user 5 should have the same permissions what already given to the user 3. In such cases, what is the first way? You have to open the user 3. You need to check the properties of user 3, like what all policies were attached, what all groups he is included, and then manually you have to apply one by one to the user 5, which is a time taking process. But with the help of a copy permissions, the same set of permissions from user 3 will be simulated to user 5. Let us say user 3 is a part of two different groups and he is attached with five different policies. The same way user 5 is going to be a part of the same two groups, and five different policies will be attached. Easy to provide the permission same as the other user. Let us do this. Let me take the example of the same user 3. How to verify what all permissions that the user 3 has? Go to the users. Being an administrator, I can verify. Click on user 3 and you can see permission policies. What policies were attached? Read only access. Is he a part of any group? That we can check here. Click on groups. No, he is not a part of any group. Okay, right. So now what I do is I would like to create a new user. Create a user. This time I will give a name as user 5 and copy, or I can say and assign the same permissions as user 3 using copy permissions feature. Okay, right. So let's how to do that. Go to the IAM service, click on users, click on create user. Username is going to be user 5. Provide user access to the AWS management console. Here I will select, I want to create an IAM user, select the custom password. I don't want to force the user to change the password for time being. Click on next. Right. Must include at least one lowercase. It seems I did not enter a lowercase. Okay. Okay, next. Because we have a password policy, right? So here I will select the copy permissions, then select user 3. See here what all groups that user 3 is present. 0. What policies were attached? Only one policy, and you can see the name of that attached policy to the user 3. Click on next, create user. So user 5 got created. Now, before logging in as user 5, let me observe what all policies were attached. So click on user 5. You can see the same policy was automatically attached to the user 5 also. If you want to verify, just you can log in as user 5 and you can verify. And here we have created all the users with management console access. We haven't tried programmatic access yet, right? We haven't tried a programmatic access yet. Now let us create one user with a programmatic access also. Before creating the user with a programmatic access type, what is a programmatic access? What is a programmatic access? Just use the chat box to send your answers. Already we discussed that in the yesterday's session, right? What is a programmatic access type? Management console access type means the user can log into the AWS account using a browser by entering the username and password, right? But what is a programmatic access? Programmatic access type will allow the user to log in or to use the risk to create or to manage the resources using CLI, SDK, or any other development tools. Generally, that is used by the developers most of the time, and sometimes it will be used by the DevOps guys also to automate, like to run the scripts automatically and all the things. But for this programmatic access type of a user, he won't get username and password. He won't get a username and password combination. What he will get? He will get access key ID and a secret access key. This is the combination that he needs to use to log into the AWS account. So let's create one. Let me write down a point here. Programmatic access type allows the user to log into AWS account using CLI, SDK, or any other development tools. And they use access key ID and secret access key for authentication. Means to log in, they use access key ID and secret access key instead of username and password combination. Even they don't get a password. If he got a password means he got management console access. Okay, now what I do is let us create a user. I will say user 11 with programmatic access type and provide administrator access Then we will see how to log in, because I said there is no way that they can use a browser. Then how to use? We will see that also. Okay, right. So first, let us create. How to create? Just go to your IAM service and click on user section here. Create user. Username, I decided as a user 11. And here, I'm not going to provide a management console access. So don't select this checkbox. If you select this checkbox means the user will get console access also. Our requirement at this point of time is not to provide management console access. So I don't select this checkbox. Then click on next. What is the next way? What is the next thing? Permissions. Administrator access to be given to this particular user 11. There are three different ways. One is a add user to group. You can add a user, or you can attach a policy directly, or you can copy the permissions. So I'm copying the permissions from user 4. You can use any one of these three options. There is no restriction. So what happens? User 4 is already a part of admin underscore group. So that user 11 will becomes a member of that group. At this point, you guys might get a question like, okay, so you are copying the permissions from user 4. Does that mean the access type will be copied? No. Only the permissions will be copied. No access type will be copied from user 4 to user 5. So here I can click next, add a new tag. I can say access type, uh, programmatic access. Let me add another tag, team. I can say developer, create user. Now, what happened here? I created user 11, right? And I assigned administrator access permissions, but we did not provided any access type. We did not provided any access type, like what we call that. Hmm, in a simple way, I can say, okay, your parents allowed you to go on some trip, but you don't have any mode of transport from like traveling from your home to the picnic spot or somewhere. You got full permissions like administrator access, but you don't have any access type because we did not selected management console access type, right? So why I am telling this is few people might think if you don't select the management console checkbox, the user will get, I mean, the user might get the programmatic access, but that's not true. If you don't select management console access means the user will not get console access type. That doesn't mean he will get a programmatic access. We need to provide a programmatic access. So how to provide? How to provide? Let me write down the steps. So create user 11 first without any access type and assign all required permissions. This is what already we completed. Then generate pair of access key and a secret access key. Because I said programmatic access will allow the user to use access key ID and secret access key for login purpose. The moment once a user is received access key ID and secret access key, which means he is enabled with programmatic access. Now, how to enable or how to create this set of keys for user 11? So go back to your console, click on user 11. There is one tab called security credentials, right? Click on security credentials. So first option is console sign-in. What is the console password? Not enabled, which means the user is not enabled for console login. And then scroll down. How many access keys are there? 0. Means the user doesn't have any access keys, which means he cannot log in using programmatic access also. He can't do any programmatic calls. So here click on create access key. Just choose this one. The first option is more than enough for us. Command line interface, confirmation here, select this checkbox. I understand the above recommendation and want to proceed to create an access key. Click on next. Description tag value. What is the use of these keys? I can say to access the AWS resources using CLI. Just some description. Click on create access key. See here, access key and secret access key has been generated. So being an administrator, what I do is I will note down the values. Here is the secret access key. And I will share these details with user 11. And I will share these details with user 11. And he will use these credentials to log in. Now, the first thing, how to log in. We need to verify the login process, right? At least, even though you are not a developer, at least you should know how to log in and how to interact with AWS, at least to guide the developers or the DevOps guys. But nowadays, even though you're not a developer or a DevOps, you must know everything. So first thing, what we have to do is download and install AWS CLI tools. You need to download and install because it knows all the AWS related commands and all. How to download or from where we have to download. So there is a website called aws.amazon.com/CLI. From this URL, you can download it. Just click enter. It will takes you to the official Amazon website from where you can download the required things. So here, get started, right? Which might take you to the what we call that the documentation page. In this documentation page, you can get every piece of information about AWS. You will get complete information about any AWS service, any feature, or any option. So complete all prerequisites. So my requirement is install or update, right? So on the left side here, I will click install or update. So where you would like to install? I would like to install on my laptop, right? Okay, let me share this directly. This URL. I will say reference and I will paste that. By clicking on that link, you will be navigated to the download page. So Linux, Mac, and Windows. If you are using a MacBook, Mac OS, you can click here, you can download and all. But I'm using a Windows machine, right? So this is the page. You can download here, or you can use this command also. Let me click here. You can see it is getting downloaded. Now I should install it. Just double click it, like how you install regular software, right? I think already in my machine, I have CLI tools, but that might be outdated one. It will update, it will upgrade automatically. Just like how we will install a regular piece of software, double click, next, 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 install. Next, accept the license agreement. Next, next, install. Now the CLI tools are getting installed on my laptop, which takes just a few minutes. It won't take much time. And one thing, while you are installing the CLI tools, while installing the AWS CLI tools, it is recommended to close the command prompt because these CLI tools are getting integrated with your Windows command prompt. If it is open, it might not properly integrated and a reboot might require. So I recommend to close command prompt while you are installing the AWS CLI tools. Once it got installed, we need to use the CLI tools to interact with your AWS. Like I want to see the list of users. So for that, there will be a command. Whenever you type the command, immediately it will require an authentication, right? It will ask you like, who are you? Are you authorized to perform this action? Then we need to provide your authentication details like access key ID and secret access key. For that, what we have to do is the moment once you download and install, we need to configure the CLI with your credentials. With your credentials like access key ID and secret access key. That has to be done using a command called AWS space config. I will show you that. Just wait until this installation is completed. You can see it is like updating the registration process and all. Okay, just a quick question. So for user 11, we are assigning a programmatic access. If it requires, can we assign management console access along with the programmatic access? What's your opinion? Can we assign? I mean, is there a way that a user should get both the type of accesses? Okay, it seems no one is answering. Might be they are unable to guess or they don't want to guess. I'm not sure. Okay, so depending on the requirement, we can assign both the type of access to any user. There is no restriction. That's completely depends on the requirement. If your organization requires a single user to access the AWS with the programmatic access as well as the management console access, yes, that we can do. Once the basic things are done, like how to configure, how to access the AWS and all, then I will show you how can we assign management console access to this user 11. And then I will ask you guys to do a practical, to do a task to assign programmatic access for user 1 without removing the management console access. I will update the document with the kind of a tasks, and you guys have to do that. And then also we can see like what if a user forgets his password? That will happen. That's the most common thing, right? A user might call you or message you that, okay, hey admin, I forgot my password. I'm unable to recollect my password. How a user can get a new password, right? Or being an administrator, because an IAM user cannot click on forget password to get a new password. Being an administrator, we have to reset a password for the IAM users. How to do that and all we will cover in this session itself. Okay, it seems it's almost completed. It is removing the backup files because before upgrading the existing CLI tools, it will take a backup of the current configuration and all. Okay, so then click on finish. So simple. How to install? Double click, next, 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 install. That's it. Then accept the license agreement. Now, what I have to do is I need to click on start, a Windows button, right? Then type CMD, which is the command prompt. This is the command prompt, right? So first thing, using this command prompt, with the help of AWS CLI tools, I'm going to interact with the AWS account. Let us say, assume that there is no commands and I have to use a basic English. So I can say, so I want to see the list of IAM users. Assume it is a command. If I press enter, this command should be sent to my AWS account. But to which AWS account? How this computer knows? To which AWS account this command to be sent. Then the AWS account will display the list of users, right? To which AWS account? And as a which user you are asking this? Do you have a permission? Do you have an authorization? First thing, authentication means you are a valid user. Then authorization means you have a valid permissions. For that, what we have to do is you need to configure this AWS CLI tools with your credentials. That credentials automatically identifies that to which AWS account you are communicating and whether you are authorized. Authorized means whether you have appropriate set of permissions to fetch the required information from the AWS account. How to do that? AWS space config command. Press enter. Then it will ask you to enter access key ID, secret access key, and all. Okay, sorry, it seems config is invalid, and these are the list of commands available. It seems on the new version they are not accepting config. We have to go with configure full command. Earlier, they accepted the short forms and all. So we must go with AWS configure. There's the actual command. AWS space configure. It is asking me to enter the access key ID. But remember, for you guys, you can't see these stars and all for the first time. Why it is showing the stars and all? On this CLI tools, on this machine, already there was one access key ID configured, which ends with capital TSTR. But now I am reconfiguring. So what are the credentials? So here are the credentials. This is the access key. Let me copy, paste, enter. Now it is asking me to enter secret access key. Now default region name. You can enter any region name, but now you're not supposed to enter the name of the region like Hyderabad, Mumbai, or something. You need to enter the code. You can use any code, that doesn't matter. I'm using US-East-1, which is Northern Virginia. Default output format, I recommend you to JSON, but we never use it. What is the use of the default output format? If you are exporting something, then that will be exported in the JSON format. Done. Means I configured my laptop with my AWS credentials. So using this particular command prompt, whatever the AWS command I execute, that will be executed using these credentials, means as a user 11 from my AWS account. Now what I do is configuration done. Let me verify a basic commands. What are the basic commands? First thing, view the list of IAM users using AWS CLI. Assume that I don't know what commands I have to use. Easiest way is every command will start with AWS. Every command starts with AWS. Then what is my goal? I want to see the list of IAM users, means IAM service. Then there should be a command to see the list of users. I will say help, because I don't know what command to be used. See here, for the IAM service, these are the available commands. Add client ID, add user to group, attach group policy. But what is our goal? View the list, view or list, right? Okay, let me press enter. These all are the valid commands under IAM service. No one can remember all this, right? Okay. So here, just identify for list users command. Can you see something here? List users. Based on the name, based on the command name, name, easily we can identify what is the purpose of that command. Okay, list users might fulfill our requirement. So let me type Control C. So what we have to do, AWS space, IAM space, list dash users. Press enter. It should display the list of all users. See here, user 0, user 1, user 101. Don't expect that you can see the password. You can't see the password. You can't see the secret access key. Just you can see the information about the user 1. What is the user ID? What is the creation date? 9th 2025 at 13:30 UTC. In India means we have to add 5.5 hours. 1:30 plus 5.5. What is the value? 7. Yesterday at 7 p.m. India time, we created. When was the last used? The password was used at 7:02 p.m. User 101, we created today. You can see 10th September 2025 at 13:20, which means I need to add a 5.5, which is 18:50, right? 18:50, which is like 6:50 p.m. today. Can we create a user using these commands? Yes, obviously you can. How to do that? Even I don't know. Let me check. Let me use the command called help. So something like create user. See here, create user. This might allow you to create the user. Okay. Now, let's see, AWS space, IAM space, create user. But how to enter the username and all, right? For that also, I will type again help. It will display the sub commands of create user. See here, these are the values you have to use. And if I scroll down a little bit, you can see an example also. No need to remember everything. Or the alternate way is you can go to the docs.aws.amazon.com where you can see. See here, example to create an IAM users. This is the example. Okay, let me paste here. So what was the command to view the list of users? AWS space, IAM space, list dash users. Now what we are doing, create a new user. Let us say user 12 using CLI. So what is the command is, this is the one. Create user, username. Here the username is going to be user 12. Let me copy paste it. Let me copy paste it. Or if I do like this, AWS space, IAM space, create user space dash dash user hyphen name user 12 and press enter. But you might have a question. Where is the password for this user 12? Right? Where is the password? So that also you have to enter like hyphen hyphen password, and you need to type the password here. Then if you want to attach a policy, attach hyphen policy. This is the thing which we have to do. What will happen if I create like this? User 12 will be created without a management console access and without a programmatic access. Whatever we can do using the AWS console, everything you can do using the CLI also. If you are a developer, if you are a DevOps guy, it is recommended to learn how to use the commands and all. And here, let me go to the browser once, just to verify whether the user 12 got created or not. We need to verify, right? Okay, done. So let me refresh the list of users. Okay, users. Can you see user 12? Yes. So whatever we are going to learn through the console, the same thing you can do using the CLI also. Being a AWS architect, you must know CLI also. Why? Because sometimes to upload the backups from your organization to the AWS S3 bucket, you can't manually upload every day, right? We will create some kind of automation scripts. Being a DevOps guy or someone might give you the script, but who will execute that? We need to configure, we need to run. So in the S3 concept, we will see more into this CLI, like how can you download all the files from S3 bucket, S3 storage to your laptop using a command, or how can we synchronize your folder from your laptop to the AWS S3 storage without using the console, because this kind of synchronization and all requires a CLI tools. In that S3, we will discuss more about the CLI. Like we will see the required commands, how to execute that, how can we automate, all the things we can cover in this S3 concept. Right. One more thing is like forgotten password. How can we reset the password of a user who forgets their password? Right. So reset the forgotten password of an IAM user called user 2. So one day user 2 sent you an email that, hey, I forgot my password and I'm unable to recollect. First, what he will try. So let us say I logged out as user 4 and I will try to log in. Okay, I think we don't have a user 2, right? Yeah, let us say user 3. Let us say user 3 because we deleted user 2. So here user 3 is trying to log in. Just let me try to log in as user 3. Okay, username is user 3. Let me enter the password, click on sign in, and I realized I forgot my password, right? Having trouble? Yes, because I forgot my password. Let me click here. What is the error message? For IAM users, contact your administrator to reset your password. Being an IAM user, a user 3 cannot reset his password. He can change the password. There is a lot of difference between change the password and reset the password. Changing the password means if you know the current password, you can update it with a new value. Reset password means I've forgotten my password and I want to change it. So here user 3 cannot reset the password. He will approach the administrator. Now I am the administrator. How to reset is I will click on user 3 and I can see the information about user 3. Here there is a tab called a security credentials, right? Click on security credentials. And here manage console access because the password is a part of the console signing. Click on manage console access. Select the option called reset password, auto generated password. I will select this one. This is how in the real time we will reset a password. This is a mandatory part. Reset a password. What it is, if the user is already logged in on any other browser, if there are some active sessions, those active sessions will be closed, killed. Reset password. Here is the password, and I will share that password with user 3. Then what happens? The user 3, the user 3 will try to log in. Here is the password of the user 3. Click on sign in, and he will be forced to change the password. Old password means not the forgotten password. Old password is the one which is shared by the administrator. See here, this is the old password. Now I'm going to enter, set my new password. See here, the new password does not comply with the account password policy because I'm using the same old password. I tried to use the same old password. What happened? Did I enter again the same? Let me check. Just give me a second. Mhm. Why the user is unable to log in? Okay, let me try one more time. What happened? IAM user. It's a Terraskill. Next, there's the alias. IAM username is user3. Password. Yes. Sign in. Yes, I entered the correct password. Then only we will be getting this page. Okay. Now new password. Okay. Okay. It seems I use a small what we call that the minimum number of characters were not met. Okay, let me use it. See here. So earlier, whenever what happened here is, I used the same old password as a new password, which did not allow me, and then I used a small password which is less than 10 characters. That's why I was not allowed to set a new password. Then I changed a new password which is more than 10 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special character, number. All these things must be a part of my password. This is how we can reset a password for any user whenever they forgets their password. But in the real time, if someone mails you like, okay, I forgot my password and I want to reset, we don't reset it immediately. We need someone from their team must authorize, like what we call that. If someone, how can we know that whoever is requesting for password reset is the valid person? He is the actual user. Let us say I might get access to your account, right? Some kind of using some kind of tools. I might pretend to be other user and I might request password reset, right? That's why few companies follows a request followed by an approval from the manager. The reporting manager means reporting manager knows the team members, right? But the IT team guys or cloud admins might not know each and every person. So the manager should send an email that, okay, yes, I approve the password reset, and then only the password reset will take place, just to avoid fraudulent activities and all. Okay, right. So this is about a service called IAM. We haven't covered the roles yet because roles can be used to allow service 1 to access service 2. Still we are discussing about service 1. We didn't know about service 2, right? That's why let's complete another service EC2 S3, and then we will come back and we will do a hands-on exercises on IAM roles. Till then, in the IAM, we will cover only the users, groups, and policies. Once we are done with EC2 and S3 topics, we will do that IAM roles also. Okay, right. So are you guys clear or any questions on this particular IAM topic?